Ethereum world or blockchain world, we're kind of stuck with very few exceptions in the cryptography that was available until the 80s, and we kind of haven't moved beyond that. And I claim that we will move beyond that. We need to move beyond that, and we should already be preparing to what happens when we do implement some interesting cryptographic ideas on the blockchain. Because as long as people don't know about the availability of these technologies or science, they won't ask for it. As long as they won't ask for it, it won't exist. As long as it won't exist, no one will know about it and give services for it. So that's the problem. Here's the conditions of a correct multi-party computation protocol. Remember, these are the players, okay? Some of them are evil. Some of them really want to spy on everyone else, right? And some of them don't. So here are the conditions. With very high probability, the protocol either returns the right answer or no answer, okay? So no one can cheat. That's very important, because if people can cheat, you didn't achieve much, right? It might return no answer because some of these players are really evil, but it won't return the wrong answer, okay? Second, if all the players are honest, everything works as planned, and we get the correct answer, okay? These are just correctness requirements, okay? The third requirement is the important one for us. Even if players are cheating, they will not learn anything. All of the inputs will remain private, okay? And what does it mean to remain private? That at the end of this protocol, all players, either cheating or not, will only learn the function, the output of the function, but will not learn anything else. I still need to tell you what this means. Okay? So, right, so these are the three conditions. It has to be correct, no one can cheat, and no one can spy. Okay? Finally, I need to tell you what privacy means. So, it's a bit technical, and I won't give a full technical description of it, but here's what you should think about when you think about privacy, okay? You take the complicated protocol, right? These players communicate and they send encryptions of stuff and signatures and schemes and locked things, and it's a whole mess, right? What you do is you compare everything at the player has seen. Let's concentrate on this guy, P3. You look at everything this player has seen in the protocol. This is called the real world. Now you compare it to an idealized world. In this idealized world, there's a central player. Let's call him benevolent Google. This central player is running the best servers with the best cryptography and the best security in the world. Each of the players just sends their input, and then the Google, this benevolent Google, computes the output and sends it back to everyone. Okay? So each player, if you look at what P3 has learned in the ideal world, P3 sent their input and got the answer directly, like we do today, right? Like from Tinder or from Gmail or whatever. We just get the correct input without knowing anything else, right? What we do is we compare the ideal world to the real world, and we prove that anything that we could learn in the real world could also be learned in the ideal world. Specifically, we proved that statistically, we could recreate what we've seen in the real world by things we've seen in the ideal world. This was very fast. I don't know if this got through, but basically you try to prove that anything you could have learned here, you could have also learned in a world where there's a central trusted authority that's keeping perfect privacy. This is called the simulation proof, because you prove that anything you could learn here, you could also simulate in an ideal world. And in fact, simulation proofs I find to be very useful, a very useful way to think about decentralization. Because for any decentralization task, right, no one ever defines what they mean by decentralization. But simulation is a good way to define what we mean by decentralization. We say anything that could have worked in an ideal world that has a central, trusted, fully trusted authority will also recreate in the real world. And if you could do this, then you have true decentralization. And if you don't, then your decentralization is lacking in some way. So we try to simulate. This is what we do in the decentralization land, right? We try to simulate an ideal world, with a central authority, by the real world that's messy on an Ethereum. So here are my two use cases, starting from the one I like less and then the one I like more. So the first one is ad options. I come out in the future. In the future, all the things are decentralized. And we're still seeing ads, because people have to run websites and write content, and this content is not really using micropayments. I mean, but it's it's funded by ads, or we're agreeing to see ads in exchange for money, right? So you have ad auctions, but today the ad auctions are run by Facebook and Google, right? And they are very, very close gardens where the advertisers talk to Google and Yahoo and learn to Google and Facebook and learn how to run these things, and it looks like this. So there's profitable people and unprofitable people, and it's very vague demographic criteria because this is very black box, and you're dealing with people's personal data here, so Google can't divulge this too much, YouTube or whoever. And they have these ad auctions where the advertisers bid for who gets to show the ad. And this is roughly how it looks. And someone wins the auction and gets to show the ads. And these things are run billions of times per day. So these ad auctions are super high throughput. They're happening all the time. But Yahoo is getting a 45% cut of it, right? Or Google is getting, I don't know how many cuts of this. So these are very, very centralized. Now here's what the future will be like. The future will be like this, but on Ethereum or whatever blockchain there is then, with multi-party computation. Each of us puts as much information as they want on the blockchain, right, in encrypted form. And we are incentivized to put more because we're going to get more money for seeing ads if we put more info. No one can look at our information because it's multi-party computation, right? We own it. And when an advertiser comes and wants to show an ad, they run a big, big, big auction on everyone. They say, I want to show this ad to 5,000 people, and here's an algorithm for choosing which people I show to. This multi-party computation runs on everyone's private info, which is still private, and spits out, I've shown this ad to 5,000 people and paid them the amount you prescribed. The advertiser didn't learn anything. I didn't learn anything about what the advertiser wanted. I got paid, or the website got paid for seeing ads. Everyone's happy. No one's privacy was violated in the list. Right now, all of our privacy is violated every day by Google, but Google is not using everything it knows because that's a problem, right? Because it doesn't run with multi-party computation. Once this exists, auctions will be better, but privacy will be violated less. So that's one use case.